Imagine discovering you can fall asleep anytime, at will. Sounds amazing, right? But what if that power secretly hides a dangerous weakness that could destroy everything you care about? In this story, you'll see how a young boy's pride in his unique gift leads him down a dark path of arrogance, reckless choices, and heartbreaking consequences. You'll witness how his refusal to face his true vulnerability nearly ruins his life and the lives of those he loves. And just when you think you know how it all ends, there's a shocking twist that will change everything you thought was true. If you've ever felt confident in your abilities but secretly feared losing them, this story will hit close to home. Before we dive deeper, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Your location might just surprise you. And if you believe that true strength comes from honesty and kindness, hit that like button now, because what you're about to hear could change your perspective forever. Stay tuned. This is one story you won't want to miss. I was a small boy when I first found out I could fall asleep anytime I wanted. It was a strange feeling. One moment I was awake, and the next I was in my dreams. I could do it anytime, anywhere. I felt proud of my special gift. I thought it made me better than others. When I was a child, I loved to sleep. I would lie down and close my eyes. Then I would wake up feeling refreshed and happy. Sometimes I teased my friends. I would say, I can fall asleep whenever I want. I am special. They looked at me with big eyes. Some wished they could do the same. Others looked at me with envy. My family was worried. My mom and dad always told me, be careful with your gift. Sleep is good, but it can also be dangerous. I didn't listen. I thought they were just being overprotective. One day, I was feeling very proud. I thought I was stronger because I could sleep at will. I wanted to show everyone how powerful I was. I said to my friends, watch this. I closed my eyes and fell asleep right there in the park. I felt happy and confident, but I didn't see the danger coming. That night, I decided to go for a long drive with my family. It was late, and the roads were quiet. I felt brave. I thought, I can handle anything. I was behind the wheel, feeling proud. Suddenly, I felt sleepy again. My eyes started to close. I fought to stay awake, but I couldn't. My head nodded, and I lost control. The car swerved, and everything went black. I don't remember exactly what happened next. I just remember the loud crash. I heard the squeal of tires and the sound of metal breaking. Then, everything stopped. When I woke up, I saw my sister, Mia, crying in the car. She was hurt, and she couldn't walk. Her legs were broken, and she was in a wheelchair now. I felt terrible. My pride had caused her pain. I wanted to say I was sorry, but I was afraid. I hid my tears and kept quiet. I didn't tell anyone what really happened. I thought if I didn't say anything, maybe everything would be okay. But I knew deep inside that I was responsible. After the accident, I felt different. I still had my gift of sleep. I could still fall asleep at will. But now I was afraid. I knew that my power was not just a gift. It could also be a curse. Sometimes I still teased my friends. I still felt proud when I could sleep all day. But inside, I was beginning to feel a strange, dark feeling. I was starting to understand that my gift might be dangerous. That is how my story begins. I thought my sleep was a superpower. I thought I was better than others because I could do something they could not. But I was wrong. My pride in my gift led me to a terrible place, and I didn't even see it coming. Now, I am learning that true strength is not in showing off. It's in being careful and kind. It's in knowing when to listen and when to help. And I am just beginning to understand that sometimes the greatest power is to be humble. This is the story of how I learned that falling asleep at will is not just a gift, it's a big responsibility. And I must be very careful with it, or I might hurt someone I love. That is the end of my first chapter. Tomorrow, I will tell you more about what happened after the accident. I will share how I tried to hide my secrets and what I learned from my mistakes. But for now, I will rest a little. Because even in this quiet moment, I know that every sleep has its own story, and I am just starting to write mine. I wake up in my small, quiet room. The sun is shining through the window. I feel tired, but I also feel strange inside. It is like a heaviness in my chest that I cannot shake. I remember the accident. I remember Mia in the wheelchair. I feel a deep ache in my heart. Last night, I could not sleep at all. I was worried about today. I wanted to forget what happened. I wanted to act normal. But my body feels different now. I think about what I did. I think about how proud I was of my sleep power. I thought it made me special. I thought I was better than others. I get out of bed and walk to the window. I look outside. I see the trees and the sky. It is a quiet day. I remember how I teased my friends last week. I told them I could fall asleep anytime. I laughed because I felt strong. I felt in control. But I did not see what was coming. Suddenly, I hear my mother call my name. She sounds worried. "Alex, come here please," she says softly. I walk to her door. She looks at me with sad eyes. "Are you okay?" she asks. I nod, but I am not sure if I am telling the truth. I feel tired and a little scared. "You need to be careful," she says. "Your powers are strong, but they can also hurt you or someone else." I look down. I do not want to listen. I want to feel proud. I want to believe I am still powerful. That afternoon, I sit with Mia. She is in her wheelchair, looking outside. She is my little sister. I love her. But I remember how she was hurt because of me. "Mia," I say softly, "I am sorry." She looks at me. Her eyes are kind but sad. "It was not your fault," she says. "You are my brother. I still love you." But I know she is brave. I know she is strong. I see the scar on her leg and her wheelchair. I know I hurt her very much. That night, I lie in my bed. My mind is full of thoughts. I think about what my family said, about how my sleep power can be dangerous. I close my eyes. I try to sleep again, but my body feels strange. I start to feel sleepy even though I do not want to. My eyelids get heavy. My head begins to drift. Suddenly, I remember my accident. I remember Mia in her wheelchair. I see her face. I feel my own fear and regret. A voice inside me whispers, "You must be careful. Your pride is dangerous. You need to learn humility." I open my eyes wide. I realize that my power is not just a gift, it is also a curse. It can hurt others and myself. I need to be honest. I need to accept that I am not invincible. I sit up in bed. I decide I will tell my parents the truth tomorrow. I will admit that I have a problem. I will ask for help. As I lie back down, I feel a little lighter. Maybe I can still change. Maybe I can still learn to be responsible with my power. Tomorrow is a new day. I want to be better. I want to be kind. I want to wake up knowing I am not perfect, but I am trying. And maybe, just maybe, I can find a way to use my gift in a good way, not to show off, but to help others. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. I know I have a long journey ahead, but I am ready to face it. I will learn humility. I will learn that true strength comes from caring about others. And I will remember, real power is not just falling asleep at will. It is knowing when to wake up and be brave. The night is quiet now. I hope I can sleep peacefully. But I know better than to trust my pride again. I will be careful. I will be honest. And I will try to be better tomorrow. When I wake up in the morning, I feel different. The house is quiet. I sit up and look around. My body feels heavy, tired. I remember what happened yesterday. The accident. Mia in the wheelchair. Everything changed so fast. I get out of bed slowly. I walk to the window. The sky is blue. The sun shines softly. I think about my powers. I can fall asleep whenever I want. It feels like a gift sometimes, but now I know it can be dangerous. I hear Mom in the kitchen. She is making breakfast. I go to her and say, "Good morning." She looks at me with worried eyes. "Are you feeling all right?" she asks. I nod. "I'm fine, just tired." She smiles gently. "Remember, sweetheart, sleep is a good thing, but it can also be risky. You need to be careful." I nod again. I know she cares. I want to be better. I want to be responsible. Later, I go outside. The yard is quiet. I see my sister Mia sitting in her wheelchair. She looks at me. I walk over and kneel beside her. "Hi, Mia," I say softly. She smiles a little. "Hi, Alex. I'm sorry about what happened," I say. "I didn't mean to hurt you." She looks down. "It's not your fault," she whispers. "It just happened." I want to hug her, but I don't want to make her sad. I feel a big knot inside my chest. Guilt. Mom comes outside. She sits on a chair nearby. She is watching us. "Alex," she says gently, "I want to talk to you. I know you like your powers, but you must understand they are not just for fun. They are serious. If you are not careful, you can hurt yourself or others." I look down. I feel small. I say, "I know. I was just feeling proud. I thought I was strong. But now I see I was wrong." Mom nods. Pride can make us forget about safety. It can make us think we are invincible. But everyone has limits. Even you. I think about this. I want to be proud. But I also want to be safe. I want to do the right thing. As I sit there, I feel a strange feeling. My body feels tired again. I try to stay awake, but my eyes close. I feel my head droop. My eyelids get heavy. Suddenly, I fall asleep. My head nods forward, then back. When I wake up, I see Mia's face. She looks worried. "Are you okay?" she asks. I guess so," I say, yawning. "I didn't mean to fall asleep now." Mia smiles softly. "It's okay. Just be careful. Sleep can be a friend. But it can also be a foe if you're not careful." I nod. I understand her words. I know I must learn to control my powers better. Not just to show off, but to protect the ones I love. That day, I promise myself to be more careful, to be responsible with my gift. I want to be strong, but also kind and safe. Later, I sit with Mom and Mia. We talk and laugh a little. I still feel tired, but I feel hope too. Maybe I can learn to use my sleep wisely. Maybe I can make things better. I look at the sky again. The sun is high now. I take a deep breath and feel the quiet strength inside me. I know I have a lot to learn, but I will try, because I understand now. Power is not just about being special. It's about being careful, caring, and humble. And that is the most important lesson of all. I wake up in my room. The sunlight filters through the window. My body feels heavy, like I just finished a long nap. I sit up slowly, thinking about everything that has happened. It's quiet now, but my mind is noisy. I remember the car crash. I remember Mia in the hospital, lying in a bed with bandages. She can't walk now. She's in a wheelchair. That picture makes my stomach turn. I put my head in my hands. I feel an old, heavy feeling inside me. It's guilt. I know I made a big mistake. I thought I was strong because I could fall asleep anytime I wanted. I thought my power made me special. But now I see that I was wrong. I get up and walk to the window. I look outside. The world is still the same. The trees sway in the wind. The birds sing. But inside me, everything is changed. Suddenly, I hear Mom calling my name. "Alex, come down for breakfast." I take a deep breath. I walk down the stairs slowly. My legs feel tired. My mind feels tired too. I know I cannot hide from what I did. I have to face it. In the kitchen, Mom is at the table. She looks worried but gentle. "Good morning, honey," she says softly. "Are you okay?" I nod, but don't say much. I don't feel okay. I feel heavy with sadness. Mom sits down beside me. "Alex," she says, "I know you're upset. I know you're sorry, but you have to remember something very important." "What?" I ask in a small voice. "Your power is a gift," she says, "but it is also a big responsibility. You must use it carefully. You can't let pride or anger make you forget that." I look down. I know she is right. I was proud of my sleep power. I thought I was better than others. I teased my friends. I ignored warnings. I thought I was invincible. But now, I see the truth. My pride made me do dangerous things. My arrogance hurt someone I love. That is a very hard lesson to learn. Mom puts her hand on my shoulder. "You need to be honest with yourself now. The accident was not just bad luck. It was because you didn't listen. You thought you could control everything, but you can't. Nobody can." I feel tears in my eyes. I want to run away or hide, but I know I can't. I need to face what I did. "I'm sorry," I whisper. "I was so proud. I didn't think about the danger." Mom hugs me gently. "That's okay, Alex. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them. You are learning now. You are starting to see what really matters. I nod again. I want to be better. I want to be someone who can use his power to help, not hurt. Later that day, I sit outside in the yard. I look at the sky. I think about Mia. I hope she gets better. I want to tell her I am sorry. I want to be her brother again. I realize something else. My power is not just a gift. It is also a test. I must learn to use it wisely, not for pride or show, but to protect the people I love. I stand up slowly. I look at the world around me. I feel a little hope growing inside. Maybe I cannot change the past, but I can change how I use my power from now on. And maybe, just maybe, I can still do the right thing. I woke up feeling tired. My head hurt, and my whole body ached. It was like I had been running all night, but I didn't remember running. I looked around my room and saw that everything was the same as always. My clothes, my bed, even my old toy car on the shelf. Nothing looked different, but I knew something was wrong inside. Inside my mind. I felt heavy, like a big stone was sitting on my chest. That morning, Mom called me to breakfast. I rubbed my eyes and tried to sit up. My legs felt weak, like they weren't ready to hold me. I stood slowly and shuffled to the kitchen. Mom was already there. She looked at me carefully. "Are you okay, Alex?" she asked gently. "I'm fine," I said quickly. I didn't want her to worry. I wanted everything to seem normal. Maybe if I said I was okay, it would be true. At breakfast, I ate my toast and drank my juice. But my head kept spinning. I felt sleepy, even while I was sitting up. My eyes wanted to close. Suddenly, I yawned so big that I almost dropped my glass. Mom looked at me again. "Are you sure you're all right?" she asked. "I'm fine," I said, but my voice sounded shaky. That day at school, I tried to focus on my lessons, but my eyes started to shut. My head nodded down, then up again. I was so tired. I felt like I could fall asleep right there at my desk. I remembered what Mom said. "Be careful, Alex. Your powers are not just a game. Sleep can be dangerous if you don't control it." But I didn't want to listen. I thought, maybe I can use my sleep to be the best. No one can do what I do. That afternoon, I felt a strange kind of weakness. My arms felt heavy. My eyes kept closing. My friends asked if I was okay, but I just nodded and said, "I'm fine." When I got home, I tried to hide how tired I was. I didn't want anyone to think I was weak. I told myself I could manage it. I still had control over my powers. But deep inside, I knew the truth. I was losing control. My body was telling me something important. I was starting to fall asleep at wrong times. I was sick, and I didn't want anyone to find out. That night, when I went to bed, I felt a strange feeling. My body wanted to sleep, but I didn't want it to. I clenched my fists and tried to stay awake. But my eyelids felt so heavy. I closed my eyes for just a second. Then I felt myself falling into sleep. It was not the kind of sleep I could choose anymore. It was like I was being pulled under by a dark river. I woke up suddenly, feeling confused. My heart was beating fast. I looked around my room. Everything was dark, except for the faint moonlight through the window. I knew I couldn't keep pretending. I was sick. My body was not listening to me anymore. The sleep I thought was a gift was turning into something else, something I could not control. Now I understood. I was hiding the truth. I was not the only one with the power. My body had a secret too. A secret I didn't want to admit. I was starting to see that my pride had made me blind. I thought I could do everything myself, but I was wrong. I sat on my bed and took a deep breath. I looked at Mia's picture on my desk. She was smiling, even though she was in a wheelchair. I thought about how I hurt her that night. I felt a warm tear roll down my cheek. I whispered to myself, "I need help. I can't do this alone." In that quiet moment, I promised myself I would stop hiding. I would tell the truth. No more secrets. No more pretending I was okay when I wasn't. Because I knew now that my powers are not just a gift. They are a responsibility. And I have to be brave enough to face the truth, even if it's hard. That night, I went to bed with a new feeling inside. It was not pride. It was hope. Hope that I could learn to control my sleep, and maybe, someday, make things right again. And I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't do it alone. I needed to be honest. I needed to be humble, and I needed to face my own truth, no matter what. I woke up feeling tired, but not just because I had slept. Something inside me felt different. The accident weighed heavy on my mind. I knew I couldn't hide from it anymore. I sat on my bed and looked out the window. The sky was gray. It looked like rain was coming. I took a deep breath. I wanted to forget everything, but I couldn't. I remembered Mia's face after the crash. She was brave, but I saw the hurt in her eyes. That hurt stayed with me. I wished I could go back and change what happened, but I couldn't. My body started to feel strange. My eyelids drooped. Suddenly, I felt that familiar sleep pulling at me. I tried to hold on, but it was too strong. I collapsed onto my bed, completely asleep. This time, my sleep didn't feel happy. It felt dark and heavy. I saw images in my mind. Mia in her wheelchair, my family's worried faces, the terrible crash. I wanted to wake up, but my body wouldn't listen. When I woke up, I was in my room. My head was foggy. I looked around, and I saw my mom standing at the door. She looked worried. "Alex," she said softly, "are you okay?" I nodded slowly, but deep inside, I felt scared. My sleep attacks were happening more often now. It was not just a trick anymore. It was a real problem. That day, I started to notice that people around me looked at me differently. My friends asked if I was tired all the time. My teachers looked concerned. Even Mia, who usually smiled, seemed distant sometimes. I felt tired and confused. Why was this happening? I didn't want to admit it out loud, but I knew something was wrong. My secret was hiding inside me. My body was changing, and I couldn't control it anymore. That evening, I sat with my mom. I told her I felt strange. She looked at me with kind eyes. "Alex," she said gently, "I think you might need to see a doctor. Maybe it's your health. We need to find out what's wrong." I felt nervous. I didn't want anyone to think I was weak. I wanted to keep my powers and be proud. But I also knew I couldn't keep hiding. My body was telling me something was wrong. That night, I lay in bed. My mind kept spinning. I remembered how I used to think my sleep was a gift. I thought I was better than others because I could sleep any time. But now I saw that my sleep was dangerous. It was taking control of me. I thought about Mia. She was brave in her wheelchair. She didn't give up. She kept trying to do things her way. I realized I had to be brave too. I had to face the truth, even if it was hard. As I closed my eyes that night, I felt the shadows growing longer inside me. The darkness was not just outside, but inside my mind. My sleep was no longer a secret. It was a warning. I knew I had to be honest. I had to accept that I was not invincible. My pride was not enough. I had to learn to be humble and careful. Only then could I truly be strong. Tomorrow would be a new day. I was not sure what it would bring, but I promised myself that I would face it with honesty. No more hiding. No more pretending I was okay when I wasn't. The shadows inside me were growing, yes, but so was my hope. Hope that I could change. Hope that I could be better. I just had to keep trying, and I knew one thing for sure. The road ahead would not be easy, but I was ready to walk it, step by step, with my eyes open, because I understood now that true strength comes from knowing your limits and being brave enough to face the truth. That was the start of something new. I didn't know where it would lead, but I was ready to find out. I woke up feeling tired. My body was heavy, and my head hurt. I knew I hadn't slept well. That's how it always was now. I kept trying to hide it, but I could not ignore the truth anymore. It was a quiet morning. Mom was in the kitchen, making breakfast. Mia sat in her wheelchair at the table. She looked at me with sad eyes. I felt a strange mix of guilt and fear inside me. Suddenly, a doctor's face appeared in my mind. I remembered the day I saw the tests. The tests showed something I didn't want to see. I had narcolepsy. That meant I could fall asleep suddenly, anytime, even when I didn't want to. It was not a superpower. It was a weakness I had hidden from everyone. I looked at Mia. She was so brave. She had been hurt because of me. I wanted to tell her the truth, but I was afraid. What if she got angry? Or what if she didn't want to be my sister anymore? Then the doorbell rang. I heard Mom answer it. I got up slowly and walked to the door. When I opened it, I saw Mr. Harris, the family doctor. He looked serious. "Alex," he said softly, "we need to talk about your health." My heart pounded. I knew what he wanted to say. I felt tears in my eyes, but tried to stay strong. "I know," I whispered. "I have narcolepsy. I've known for a while." Mom came into the room. Her face was worried but kind. She looked at me and nodded. "I didn't want to tell anyone," I said. "I was scared. I thought if I told, I'd lose control of my powers. I thought I was special because I could sleep whenever I wanted. But I was wrong. It's not a gift. It's a curse." Mom sat down next to me. She took my hand gently. "Alex, you are brave to tell the truth now. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to face them and learn from them." Mia looked up at me. For a moment, her eyes were full of sadness. Then she smiled a little. "Maybe now," she said softly, "you won't get hurt again. And I won't have to be scared anymore." I felt a warm feeling inside. I looked at Mia and Mom. I knew I had to be honest from now on. I could not hide my weakness anymore. That day, I promised myself I would try to be responsible. I would learn to control my sleep, not use it as a weapon. I realized that true strength is not about showing off. It's about being brave enough to admit when you are vulnerable. Later, I sat outside and looked at the sky. The sun was shining. It felt like a new beginning. I was not perfect, but I was trying to be better. I understood that pride had led me to a dangerous place. Now I wanted to be honest, not just with others, but also with myself. I knew I still had a long way to go, but I was ready to face it. That night, I went to bed and closed my eyes. This time, I didn't try to hide my feelings. I whispered softly to myself, "I am not perfect, but I will try to be responsible." And as I drifted into sleep, I felt a small hope inside me. Maybe, just maybe, I could find a way to live with my weakness and still be strong. I woke up feeling tired and heavy. My body was sore. I looked around my room and remembered everything that had happened. It was hard to believe I was here again. I had made big mistakes, and now I had to face them. As I sat up, I heard a soft knock on the door. It was Mom. She came in quietly. Her eyes looked gentle but serious. "Alex," she said softly, "we need to talk." I nodded. I knew what she meant. We had talked about my powers before, but this time it felt different. There was more weight in her words. Mom sat down next to me. She looked at me with concern. "You are learning that your sleep is not just a gift. It can be dangerous. You have to be careful. You are sick and your body needs help." I looked down. I knew she was right. I had tried to hide how tired I was, how my body sometimes just gave in. I wanted to be strong, but I was not invincible. Mom took my hand gently. "Your pride made you think you could do anything, but pride can blind us. It can make us forget that we are not perfect. You need to be honest with yourself and with others." I felt tears in my eyes. I remembered the accident. Mia, my little sister, was hurt because of my pride. She was in a wheelchair now, and I could never forget that. Suddenly, I heard a quiet voice inside my head. It was my guilt. It was telling me I had hurt Mia. It reminded me how I had ignored the warnings and driven that night. I had thought I was unstoppable, but I was wrong. "I am sorry," I whispered. I was proud, and I did not listen. Mom squeezed my hand. "It's okay to feel sorry. What matters is that you learn from this. You are not alone. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to be honest and to be kind. You need to understand your limits." I nodded again. I wanted to be better. I knew I had to accept my sickness and be responsible. My body was not a weapon. It was a part of me, and I had to take care of it. Just then, I looked out the window. The sun was starting to rise. Light filled the sky. It was a new day. I took a deep breath. I understood now that my gift was not just a power. It was also a responsibility. I had to use it wisely and never forget that I was vulnerable. I looked at Mom and Mia's picture on my bedside table. I thought about Mia and how brave she was. Even with her new wheelchair, she smiled and kept going. I promised myself that I would be honest. I would face my fears and my health. I would try to be humble and caring, because I knew now that pride was not enough. Real strength came from honesty and kindness, and I wanted to be strong in the right way. The day had begun. I was ready to learn, to grow, and to do better, and I knew that I could start by being true to myself. I woke up feeling tired. My body felt heavy and my head was clouded. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then I remembered. I had just finished a long sleep. It was not like a normal nap. It was my special power. I could fall asleep anytime I wanted. That had made me feel proud. I thought I was better than everyone else because of it. But now, I felt something different. I felt scared. I knew I had a secret, a real secret that I had tried to hide. I had narcolepsy. That was a sickness that made me fall asleep suddenly, even when I didn't want to. I had ignored it for a long time. I had thought my sleep was a gift, but now I saw it was much more than that. I sat on the edge of my bed and looked out the window. The sun was shining, but I felt cold inside. I remembered the accident. Mia was hurt very badly. She was in a wheelchair now. I still saw her face, full of pain and tears. I wished I could take back what I had done. I had been so proud, so sure that I was special. I had teased others and felt powerful because I could sleep whenever I wanted. But that pride had caused her pain. My mother knocked softly on the door. "Alex, are you okay?" she asked softly. I took a deep breath. "Yes, I am," I said. But I was not sure if that was true. Mom came in and sat next to me. She looked at me with kind eyes. "Alex, I know it's hard," she said. "You are learning the truth about your sleep. It's not just a gift. It can be very dangerous." I looked down. "I didn't want to believe it," I whispered. "I thought I was special. I thought I was better than everyone else." Mom held my hand. "Pride can make us blind," she said. "You thought you could control your sleep, but now you see the truth. You are sick and you need help." I nodded slowly. I knew she was right. I had to accept my illness. I could not pretend anymore. I had to be honest with myself and others. Suddenly, I heard my inner voice. It was a small whisper in my mind, but now it was clearer. It was my conscience, reminding me of what I had done. "You were proud," it said softly. "Your pride hurt Mia. You need to change." I looked at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes looked tired, but I saw a new spark inside. I was not just someone with a superpower. I was someone who needed to be responsible. I needed to be kind, not proud. That day, I decided to tell my father. I waited until he was home. When he sat down next to me, I took a deep breath and said, "Dad, I have to tell you something. I have narcolepsy. I can't control my sleep. It's not a superpower, it's a disease." He looked surprised, then sad. "Why didn't you tell us earlier?" he asked. "I was afraid," I answered. "I thought if I told the truth, you would be mad. I thought I could hide it and keep being special." He smiled gently. "Alex, you are still special, but not because of your sleep, because you are honest now, and you want to be better." That moment made me feel a little lighter. I was finally being honest. It was hard, but it was the right thing to do. Later, I talked to Mia. She was still in her wheelchair, but her eyes shone with courage. I sat beside her and took her hand. "I'm sorry, Mia," I said softly. "I was proud and careless. I didn't see how much I was hurting you." She nodded and smiled a little. "It's okay. I forgive you. I know you didn't mean to hurt me." We both knew the road ahead would not be easy. I had to learn to live with my illness. I had to be careful. I had to make new choices. Not because I was weak, but because I was strong enough to face the truth. That night, I lay in bed. I thought about everything. I thought about the pride I had lost and the lessons I had learned. I looked at the sky and saw the stars shining bright. I knew I had a long way to go, but I also knew I was starting to see clearly. This was the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter of honesty, humility, and caring. I closed my eyes and took a slow breath. I was ready to face whatever came next, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a small hope inside me. Maybe I could be more than just a boy with a special gift. Maybe I could be someone who was brave enough to tell the truth. And that was the real beginning of change. I sit quietly on the edge of my bed. It is morning, but I feel tired inside. My body feels heavy, and I want to close my eyes. I have just told my family the truth. I have narcolepsy, a sleep problem. I used to think I had a superpower, falling asleep at will. Now I know the truth. It is a sickness I cannot control. It is not a gift. It is a part of me that I must accept. I remember how I used to feel proud of my ability. I could sleep anytime, anywhere. I teased my friends and felt better than others. I thought I was special, but now I see how wrong I was. My pride made me do things that hurt others. I ignored the warnings. I believed I was invincible. That pride led to the worst mistake of my life, an accident that changed everything. I close my eyes and think about Mia. She is my little sister. She is brave and kind. She is in a wheelchair now because of me. I feel deep sadness inside. I never wanted to hurt her. I only wanted to feel powerful. But I was wrong. Power that hurts others is not real power. It is a lie. My mom sits beside me. She is gentle and caring. She holds my hand and says, "Alex, you are brave to tell the truth. Now we can all start to heal." Her words make me feel a little stronger. I know I made many mistakes, but I want to do better now. I look at the window. The sun is rising. It is a new day. I know I cannot change the past, but I can change my future. I want to be honest. I want to be responsible. I want to help Mia and my family and myself. I will learn to live with my sickness. I will ask for help and take care of myself. My inner voice, the part of me that worries and reminds me, says, "You are not a superpower. You are a person who needs kindness, honesty, and love." I listen carefully. That voice is right. I stand up slowly. I walk to see Mia. She is playing with her toys. She looks up and smiles at me. Her smile is gentle and forgiving. I kneel beside her and say, "Mia, I am sorry for what I did. I love you very much. I will always try to be better." Mia nods. She is strong. She has faced her pain with courage. She reminds me that even when everything is hard, love and honesty can help us heal. I take a deep breath. I look at my family. We are not perfect, but we are together. We will face this new life with honesty and kindness. We will learn to handle my sickness and to forgive each other. I realize that true strength is not in pretending to be perfect. True strength is in being honest about our problems. It is in caring for others and accepting ourselves. I will stop thinking I am better than others because of a gift. Now I see that real power is in humility and love. As I sit quietly once more, I know this is the start of a new chapter. I am not just a boy with a strange ability. I am a person who can learn, grow, and become better. I will face my future with courage and honesty, and I will never forget, the strongest thing I can do is be truthful and kind. That is the true gift I want to give myself and everyone I love. The sun continues to rise, shining bright and warm. I feel hope inside me. I am ready to take the next step. I am ready to be a better person. This is my story. It is not over yet. But I know now that the most important thing is to be true to myself and to others. That is how I will find peace and happiness. And with that thought, I stand up and walk into the day, ready to face whatever comes next.